Join us for a full driving review of the all-new Skoda Octavia, today as the plug-in hybrid, the Octavia IV. We also have the Combi here today, the Estate. We have reviews both of the sedan and the Estate here. Different choices, you can check them out later. Now, it's about this very one here today. As you know, on Autogefühl, your number one resource for in-depth car reviews and your number one community to discuss cars in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go. In the front here, the new Skoda Octavia features this front grille which looks sportier than before, even in base versions. Chrome frame around here, and then it leads over as one unit to the headlamp. LED is standard, nice daytime running light. Optional, you can also get matrix LED and also strong accentuations here on top of the hood. The color for today is called Titan or Titanium Blue, a very nice Thomas Blue alike color for sure. You can see here, although this is here the base plug-in hybrid, not the special RS plug-in hybrid, it already looks quite sporty in the front. 4.69 meters, 15'4" or 185 inches is the length here of the Octavia, both available as the Estate and as the fastback or sedan in this new generation. Once again, the Combi here continues right there with the roofline, whereas the sedan would have the falling roofline right here, of course. Interesting black wheels we have today in 17-inch with winter tires. That's why it doesn't look too impressive. You can also get, for example, 18-inch here for the plug-in hybrid version if you like it a little bit sportier from the look. Other than that, we have the chrome frame around here at the moment, and the dropping line is above the door handles. You can optionally get the DCC, that's the adaptive suspension, and when you go for it in the plug-in hybrid version, it's not 50 millimeters lower as it would be usually, because they want a little bit more protection of the battery from underneath. But definitely it will be a very interesting ride, I can promise you. In the rear, the new Octavia, also as the Estate, looks sportier than before because we have these horizontally drawn tail lamps with a modern LED signature. IV on the right side, it's the only thing that's indicating that's the plug-in hybrid. And thanks to the design god, the prayers have been heard. There are no fake exhaust whatsoever in the lower area, so a clean and simple design here for an Estate in the rear. Woohoo! For the Octavia we still have the gas struts, unlike in the new Golf 8. And here today we have the plug-in hybrid drivetrain, electric motor and combustion in both via the front axle. Here the orange parts all belong to the electric drivetrain, and this is a 1.4 liter TSI, and combined horsepower output is then 204 horsepower, 13 kilowatt hour battery. And we'll see how that performs in the driving part. There will also be the 245 horsepower version in the RS IV. Other than that, you get pure petrol engines, pure diesels, and also a CNG engine for the Octavia. And recharging is here in the front left, only 3.7 kilowatt AC. However, the battery is not too big, so if you leave it overnight, it's no problem. But at the charging station, it takes a couple of hours. This is the new car key. Yeah, high gloss black. That's the scheme. So, and then door closing sound. That is very solid. Inside of the door with a nice structure and also soft touch. So the build quality looks nice. Canton sound system, Octavia entry badge, and then a new interesting cockpit here with a completely new steering wheel, digital instruments, zoom out of that. Nice fabric surface here already, and then the bright aluminum style deco element. Seats also available with these new Ergo Comfort seats. As for the form, more comfortable even when they come with a base fabric surface and not with the rather stiff animal skin surface we have in this test vehicle here today. And it's also nice to have some memory settings if you have multiple drivers. Then let's get inside, and we have a good comfortable seating position right here, and the new seat foam is also very good, so also for tall adults no problem. When I put the seat in the lowest position with 1m86 or 6'1", I still have enough headroom, even though there's the panoramic roof inbuilt here. It has these sliders now, they're okay to use, let's take it that way. And then you can also open this optional panoramic roof, which leaves a lot of light in here. And steering wheel can be put in and out, up and down. Very good and easy, smooth control. Interior overview of the new Octavia generation. Here is central design here with this bright deco element. Nice also with the fabric cover here, and soft touch dashboard with a good structure. So build quality wise in this area here, top notch really. Good and compact steering wheel. Interesting design with these popping out controls here, the mute button on the left side, zoom more details to the steering wheel and also to the screens. Starts automatically with 10.25-inch digital instruments on the left. Right side would start with 8.25-inch, or the top trims or optional, it receives here the 10-inch screen in the widescreen format. This is here a slider for the volume, not that good, rather do it here on the steering wheel. And zoom more details to the Apple CarPlay and also the infotainment system here and so on. Lower part you have still some knobs, for example hotkeys for the driving mode selection. Then you can, if you have the DCC, it changes also the suspension setup and so on. And here you can also switch the hybrid mode, zoom more details to that as well. Or here hotkey to the climate unit, because you control it indeed here in the screen. That is not that easy to do that while driving. You can also use the voice control. Change temperature to 23 degrees. Let's see. Okay. That worked. So that is one alternative indeed. In the lower area here, smartphone, inductive charging pad underneath, but also two USB-C chargers. And then we have here electric handbrake and adaptive cup holders. And then you have the armrest here, well attached, and underneath some more space. The DSG shifting lever here is newly designed and shift by wire, no mechanical link, very interesting. And the transitions between drive and reverse and so on, they're just faster. Interesting also is that there's no B mode, no recuperation mode for this PHEV. Here, D and S switching is actually from drive to sports mode, and how that affects the driving, I'll talk about more in the driving part. Now the details to the screen, you have this e-manager where you can actually schedule charging or the air conditioning, that is possible. There's this main menu here, actually quite good overview. Then there's the GPS, and you have the map right here, which sometimes takes a little bit to load. So it's not the fastest systems. The older one were a little bit faster. Here at this moment, it's actually quite responsive enough. But sometimes the loading times are quite long. And here vehicle setup, here for example see the energy flow or the electric range. This is left at the moment. And important of course how the Apple CarPlay is integrated like this here in this big screen. The Canton South system is actually quite nice. So satisfied with that sound here. Very interesting. Also comes with a subwoofer. So I can recommend that indeed, and the integration is also well done as for that. As for the driving modes, here we have the DCC driving modes for the how the suspension reacts and also throttle input. And here E mode, either stay in the all electric mode and just go to the combustion engine, really floor it, or hybrid mode, the vehicle picks itself what it's actually preferring at this moment. And then you can also go to, for example, reserve charge level, so you can maintain a charge level of the battery, maybe for an emission zone in the city later on. And then we also have the rear view camera. The resolution, however, should be better. I think for a new generation, it's lacking a little bit of resolution. Digital instruments, standard, and you can see left side for the battery meter, right side for the fuel. And the good thing about the digital instruments is you have different views, for example, also map view all over the place. That's what's making it so flexible and actually quite good to read. On the left side of the steering wheel, you can activate the heated steering wheel. This is here for the volume, click to mute, and here you can actually browse through the music. Right side of the steering wheel is where you control the digital instruments. Sometimes it's a little bit confusing of what to do with these buttons in the instruments. And here you activate the assistance systems or deactivate them. And this is here for the travel assist, the extended assistance system. And the small help display is clear to read. It's directly projected into the windscreen, most of the time for the speed or for the allowed speed, and also some GPS info if you have a route set. As for the rear seating area, well, these very voluminous ergo comfort seat, they do make you a little bit loss of leg room, so it does still work with tall adults, yes, of course. They have some pockets right here, and with the panoramic roof, it also still fits with one with a 6 at 6'1". If you want more headroom, then you would leave out the panoramic roof. Overall, quite comfortable this seating position, but usually you would expect a little bit more leg room here in the Octavia. Yeah, I think it's also then due to these special seats right here. In the middle console, you have some cubby hole, and right here, ISOFIX at the outside part, you can already fold the seats from here. And in the middle part, you have some cup holders, but non-adaptive, and a ski hatch. So this plug-in hybrid is designed in a way that you do not lose any flexibility. You can see here a cabin trolley easily fits also under this cover, and it's easy to press right here once or twice, and then you have very square dimensions. That's what people love about the Octavia. Underneath you have some spots here for a charging cable. That's of course coming quite handy. And then we have the length here at over a meter, and the width actually is exactly a meter, so very good to use. And the height below the cover is 45 centimeters, and the total height here is just a little bit under 70 centimeters. And good and flexible function to fold the seats from here, and then the absolute length to the seat in the front is over 1 meter and 80. So, and then the absolute full setup would look like this. And what about the child safety test of this electric hatch? Let's see. Yeah, well done. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Skoda Octavia IV, the new plug-in hybrid version here in the all-new generation of the Skoda Octavia. 1.4 TSI made it to an electric motor. In this version here, 204 horsepower. In the RS IV, it would be 245. The RS, of course, also available with pure petrol and pure diesel. Soon more to that on Autogefühl, I can promise. And here, now the plug-in hybrid drivetrain thing remains really calm in everyday driving life, in traffic situations. Using the hybrid mode means the car picks itself when it's using the combustion engine and when just the electric drive. And if I go to the E mode, then I really want to stress that I want to stay in that electric mode. For example, when I'm in my neighborhood and so on. But usually more efficient is the hybrid drive. Also when you set a destination or something, the car really picks by itself what is the most useful at the moment, unless you know you want to drive all electric because you can reach the next charging station when the battery is empty once again. This 50 kilometers or 30 miles official range is not like 100% realistic, more like 25 miles, 40 kilometers. That is something you can actually reach. And when you drive with the battery empty, it will be more or less the same fuel economy as if you would have the the same engine without the electric motor, more like 7 liters or more kilometers, and that's about 30 mpg US, 40 mpg UK. However, if you think about that, the new 1.5 TSI is really fuel saving, more like 5 liters on more kilometers. The one with mild hybrid system, more like 5 liters more kilometers, or 5.5 something, and rather goes like 40 mpg US and more like 50 mpg UK. Then you have to think about what's more useful for you. So I can really also recommend the new 1.5 liter MHEV system that has performed very well in this car here as well, and also in the siblings. However, this one really, when you can recharge, and then you can use this, these electric driving moments, and it's really perfectly silent, really cool, good noise insulation, better in this new generation, and you have a decent all-electric acceleration as well. Just when you really pin it down, then also the combustion engine hops on. And here, for example, I see this power meter when it's staying in this all-electric mode, and it's really a lot of fun just driving it all-electric. I can just stress that again. Steering is really precise and direct, awesome job, no dead zone area, and you have a good feeling. Parking in and out is really easy, and also driving it in a sporty way. This car equipped also with a DCC, optional adaptive suspension, and interesting thing is that here with the plug-in hybrid models, the DCC does not automatically sit 50 millimeters lower. It stays at the same level just for, let's say, extensive protection reasons. They don't want a car with a battery in a lower floor to be lower. It's not that the battery would receive massive damage or something, but just a precaution. But that's okay. So we have a nice, comfortable ride. However, if you compare the VW Golf 8 in the variant, in the Estate version, on Audi A3, I find these deliver a little bit more comfort from the suspension, and also as for the noise comfort from the suspension. So when I'm going over these bumps here sometimes, like sewage systems cover, like here, that is a common flaw of the Octavia. You hear, especially from the rear exit, like this boom, 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 little bit, So this is still there. So that's where the VW Golf, I think, is better. However, from the user interface, the Octavia is a little bit better also while driving. That, for example, I can change the temperature here instead of using the dumb sliders we have in the Golf. However, also using it on the screen is of course not an ideal solution. It looks clean, but the user interface while driving is more complicated than before. And we all know, talked about it, the infotainment system is also slower than before. 17-inch wheels today with winter tires, and I think they should deliver a little bit more comfort, in special combination with the DCC, with the dynamic chassis control. So I think it should be a little bit more comfortable. That's, what I criticize a little bit, but overall on a high level, it's a very good vehicle. You have a great balanced feeling. It is actually already a lot of fun, although this is not a special sporty version, even though if you don't go for the RS version, here to steer it around in the corners, a lot of fun, good steering control once again, and it delivers such a balanced, neutral handling that is really very likable. Yeah, I can just stress that again. And using the E-mode is definitely one of my favorite things. However, hybrid mode, you stay in the E-mode, especially when, for example, rolling down. Recuperation, when you're just rolling, that's actually more ideal, unless the car, for example, now recognized topography going downhill, then there's also more recuperation being done. And interesting here, there's a difference to the Superb plug-in hybrid or the Passat plug-in hybrid. When I put in here from D back here, the DSG shifting here, I go to the sports mode and not to the so-called B mode, which is more recuperation mode in the Passat and in the Superb. Funny thing is, in the sports mode here, when I go to the shifting lever, it's an easier way than picking it in the infotainment system. But then also the DCC profile sports is being activated. That means suspension is a little bit stiffer. And yes, the car does regenerate a little bit more. So the sports mode does use more recuperation. All electric vehicles do that in the sports mode. At the same time, the sports mode makes the suspension stiffer and also turns up the RPMs a little bit more. It also puts on the combustion engine a little bit more. So it's not a mode where you can say, oh, I use more recuperation, that's more efficient. It's not the mode they put in here. And I think it's the reason because it's still a relative already to the RS IV. That could be the reason. 50 kilometers to 80, 85 it was already. And maybe you realized that, not sure how it was transported via camera here and sound. So what this car did is exactly what the drivetrain is laid out to be. So first there came a small electric boost because we have the instantaneous torque from that. And then the combustion engine came with the sports mode. And so I had a nice acceleration that was really good. And combined fuel economy, by the way, at the moment 5 liters per 1 kilometers. That's the combined one because been using a lot of energy, but also some fuel, so it really depends then. So here, once again, back to the normal driving mode, and we go to the normal cruise control mode. Woo! Roller coaster. Here we go, and we can also activate or deactivate assistance systems here. Lane assist is activate, side assist. Let's activate all of them, and let's see what the car is doing. So right here, travel assist now activated with the right thumb. Traffic sign recognition happens to a lot of vehicles here because on the right side is 60 kilometers an hour, on the left side 80, so it was reducing the speed. Now travel assist is activated, keeping the car in the lane. Well done. So in a traffic construction site here, wow, very smooth process. Nice. So yeah, we can applaud them for this setup here. And it's also not nervous at all from that steering intervention. Really like that. And it's again quite easy to deactivate that system if it's maybe annoying you at some point with your right thumb then here at the steering wheel. So that's also well done, I think. Here at about 80 kilometers an hour, delivering us a really good feeling, like between 40 and 50 miles. And good motorway vehicle, good comfort from the seats, more comfort of course with the fabric seats that adapt a little bit more to the body instead of the animal skin surface we have here today. But the seat form itself is actually quite comfortable. So although we're not the biggest segment here, the Octavia built on a compact platform, but already mid-size from the exterior, delivering a good motorway long-term comfort definitely. Yeah, that's I'm doing myself in out steering out of the construction lane. Safe than sorry. And now accelerating to 100, but slowly. And here typical motorway speed now 100 kilometers, 60 miles an hour. Relaxed motorway speed. Not the typical one for Germany. Our typical motorway speeds are a little bit different. Now noise is picking up a little bit more, but overall I think this is a good speed where you can relax very well. Not sure why the voice activation now was activated. No idea. Front wheel drive only in this car, of course. Yeah, if you accelerate really, really hard, that might be a problem. But then again, I think here with the 204 horsepower and also with the Passat or the Superb with the 218 horsepower, I think it was a very good setup. Driving the plug-in hybrid of the Volkswagen Tiguan with 245 horsepower, which is more like the RSIV, I didn't feel it was such a clever idea because it's too much power on the front axle with the instantaneous torque from the front axle, from the electric motor. So I feel less horsepower variants are better in the overall feeling for the setup. That's why I'm also a little bit critical about the RSIV, looking forward to drive that one. The first to be driven by us will be the pure petrol RS, the true RS model by the Skoda Octavia. You'll see it here in Autogefühl. Once again, sports mode then here, and we'll show you towards the end of our driving session here a true acceleration onto the German motorway, the famous Autobahn. And see here when I go off throttle, charging meter goes all the way to the max. But yet again, I'm in the sports mode, so it won't be that efficient overall. So I'll go from 40 kilometers an hour to, let's see, let's go. So that's 180 kilometers an hour, so like 115 miles, 120 miles per hour. Now, of course, wind noise has picked it up. Here, sports mode. Not a super sporty setup here, of course. That's why the car is shaking up a little bit, but still delivering us a good neutral handling also when changing the lane at really high speeds here. Here I do feel that the DCC is not set lower a little bit in the plug-in hybrid versions. The car is a little bit more nervous also with the 17-inch wheels. So if you would have, let's say, an 18-inch wheel and also DCC with minus 50 millimeters, it would be calmer than here in the lane changes, definitely. Now testing the brakes, good feeling. I'm not really hammering it all the way, but nice and calm, collected feeling of the brakes. So like that as well. Setting cruise mode once again, going back to the normal driving mode, and here we are. So it shows you can do a lot with this vehicle. It has a very good acceleration on the motorway and also in the city, driving all electric in the city, maybe some tax benefits, subsidies by the government and so on, where I can profit from more and more, replacing also diesel vehicles, definitely. But again, it makes sense when you can recharge frequently and drive it all electric for, most times, unless you're doing a longer trip or something. Other than that, when you don't have charging infrastructure, you could also try just the 1.5 MHEV system right here. So take a look at how it looks like when it's dark. Here's some ambient lighting set to green here at the moment, so it's also nicely done. It reminds us a little bit of the Mercedes hidden ambient lighting with their sensual purity approach. And by the way, head-up display, good ratings for that too. Have a good overview, once again, speed, current speed and so on, and also assistance systems, or maybe GPS route when it's set. So this is definitely a good addition. Overall, once again, the new Octavia here, a very, very good drive, also in the plug-in hybrid version with the unique features I have pointed out. Definitely did enjoy the driving part here today, and I hope you did so as well. And now to our conclusion for today with the Skoda Octavia new generation, and today the plug-in hybrid. So what about this IV? First of all, exterior looks a little bit more likable and sportier, more, consistent design, definitely already in the front with the new Octavia. And I think especially beautiful as the sedan or fastback, but the Combi, of course, more versatile than in the rear once again. On the interior, you have, once again, also good space offering. However, you have to bear in mind that these special ergo comfort seats also reduce the legroom in the rear a little bit. Good build quality on the inside as well. Infotainment system, sometimes a little bit complicated to control, and also the loading times are too long, so it's slower than before. Yeah, but it's also more complex than before. The new head-up display is really a good addition, and at the steering wheel you can control everything very well. These instruments are also very well to read. And as for driving, very neutrally balanced handling, that was very good. Good steering input, a lot of fun. Already fun to drive this car, even though this is not a special sporty version. And I think also the horsepower setup here for the normal plug-in hybrid version is very well done. Not sure how that one performs with the RS IV. We will find out at a later stage. It makes sense if you can use this electric driving as often as possible. Then it's even most fun to drive this vehicle. The combustion engine itself is not the most modern one. If you cannot recharge frequently, then rather go for the 1.5 mild hybrid, for example. That makes more sense and also is very good in the fuel economy. This then really if you can have some charging infrastructure at home or at the office, and then it really makes sense and you can enjoy also this electric driving. So what do you think about the Octavia IV? Check out the whole review if you haven't done so far. Did you jump straight to the conclusion? Then jump back and also check out some other reviews of the Octavia and also the competitors internally, for example, already the Seat Leon, the Audi A3 and the VW Golf. We have a lot of reviews. They will all be linked in the video description. See you there.